So, welcome to my live today. My name is Allison Turner of Batcat Media Group, and I wanted to talk a little bit about website accessibility, ADA accessibility. There's so much that goes into that, and I think I'm streaming live, but sometimes you never know. If I am streaming live and you see this, please drop it in the chat. But ADA accessibility is getting more and more important. So to my right, getting my things confused, you will see my website, my Batcat Media Group website. And on the very bottom left corner, you'll see this little guy here. When I pull it up, you can make accessibility adjustments. So this is specifically for people who are blind, who are prone to seizures, who have, even ADHD is in here. Basically any vision problems or something that might spark a health condition can be controlled through this plugin that I've added to the website. And why is that important? Because more and more attorneys are suing small businesses like us for being non-compliant. It's not attorneys suing, but obviously they're initiating the lawsuit and there's someone behind the lawsuit. Obviously the plaintiff is behind the lawsuit, basically saying your website is not compliant. I have vision problems and I can't use your website. So whether the person's blind and there can be a screen reader on a website and you can actually read an entire website from a screen reader, but there has to be certain things done to a website to make that compliant. Now, can a website be 100% compliant? Mostly no, but they can be up in the 90 percentile compliant. And why I'm doing this today is because recently, I think it was last week, the Downtown Development Authority of Delray Beach, which kind of controls the downtown corridor, it does a lot of the marketing, supports a lot of the businesses in downtown Delray Beach, they came out with an email alerting people of more and more lawsuits happening specifically to some of the merchants in downtown Delray Beach, saying you need to be aware of this, you need to be looking at this because it's getting worse and more lawsuits are happening. Now, there's many reasons, besides what I am saying that you need to be compliant with this. Obviously the biggest thing is you don't want to get sued because the attorneys are going after 5 figures. They're going after $10,000 and up. And most small businesses that I know don't have like $10,000 necessarily sitting around that they want to pay out to settle a lawsuit. You have better use for your money. So even if when you do have that $10,000 sitting around or $20,000 or $40,000 or whatever it is, you don't want to use it to settle a lawsuit. That's ridiculous. But, 12 million people are actually impaired in the United States. So that's quite a big number and, visually impaired. So that's an important thing to think about. And then there's disabilities worldwide. So obviously the World Wide Web is called the World Wide Web for a reason. And if you have a website for your business and you're more than like a local community thing, you need to be compliant to all the standards across the world as well. 20% of the population in the world has some kind of disability. That's a pretty high number, and 98%, and these are relatively recent statistics, 98% of websites are not accessible. So they don't have that little icon in the bottom left, or usually you see them in the bottom left or the bottom right corner of a website where you can click on it and the person just makes changes to the website on their computer. So it doesn't affect your website as a whole. It just is changes on your computer. So that's an important piece. And I think, people, and I've certainly talked to most of my clients about this, and any new clients, I highly recommend doing kind of caught without having it. And it's such a small cost compared to what it could be. It's an annual cost. of less than $500, but it makes your website compliant. You have that peace of mind. You have, you're compliant, so you can't get hit with this lawsuit. So it's really an important piece that I always highly recommend to clients and even people that I meet. If I see that they don't have, that compliance, I always mention it to them because I want people just to be aware of it because most people aren't. And this went into effect quite a while ago, but then the Department of Justice actually came out and supported it and really defined what it was because it was very vague initially, which sometimes government stuff can be vague. And then the Department of Justice really defined it. It's really any website. So it's not just your big, your Amazon site or your Sears, when Sears existed, or your mall site or whatever. It's a bigger site. So, it's not just the big sites. It's not just the ones that sell something. It could just be a simple, site like mine that could be hit with that lawsuit if I didn't have it on there. The other thing is you have to think about, you're also missing out on an important part of your market share, depending on what, your target market is. I always look at, what are the upsides of having it besides being safe and not being able to be sued, which is always a big upside for me. The other thing is I can't be sued, but I also have an opportunity to pick up people that maybe need help building a website or creating a brand. And they can read my website or, and now I have a bigger opportunity and a bigger population I can market to as well. And just a couple of other statistics before I leave you with these thoughts is, there was a 200% increase in lawsuits and demand letters. So usually they start with a demand letter and then they file it in court. So a 200% increase from 2017 to 2018. I know these statistics are a little old, but I trust me, they have continued to increase. Like these numbers have continued to increase. In 2019, it was going to triple 2018's numbers. And these statistics are a little bit older, but be aware of it. Make sure you are continuing to be compliant because it was kind of a non, thing you didn't have to worry about in 2015, which was only 7 years ago. And now come today, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And people, unfortunately, sometimes there's some less scrupulous attorneys out there. If people need the accessibility, and I'm 100% behind that, but sometimes people do it for the wrong reasons. And sometimes you see some things out there that are not necessarily the right reason for filing a lawsuit. They find someone that can be the plaintiff and they want that easy payout. And I'm 100% not for that. But I also know business owners have to protect themselves and they have to be aware that people do need this. And that's really the bottom line is there's a ton of people out there with disabilities. We want to support them. We want to market to them. So why not make your website compliant? I mean, that's really the biggest message I can say. And so if you have any questions about this or you have any concerns about your website, maybe it's partially compliant because there's some free plugins out there, especially if you're WordPress. I'm specifically speaking about WordPress, but I've dealt with it on other sites as well. But some of the free plugins on WordPress, they fix one piece of the ADA accessibility, but they don't fix all of it. And you really have to look at an entire solution that will cover everything. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. It's the end of 2022. We're going into 2023. This is an important piece. Again, my name is Allison Turner. I own Batcat Media Group here in Delray Beach. But even if you're listening to this from a different state, I can certainly still help you. Give me a call, 561-276-4422, or send me an email at Allison, Allison, at batcatmedia.com. Make it a great end of the year. I hope everyone has a great start to 2023, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.